Hi, my name is Mindy Opright, and this is my internet use violation case study. The problem identification and analysis. It begins in Roosevelt High School, where it is located in an affluent area of a large city. The parents are professionals of prominent positions within the society, so they are likely to be very involved in their students' education and have a lot of pull in the school. The students also seem to get to enjoy a lot of the luxuries, including latest fashions and newest technologies. The principal of the school is Dr. Stephen Forbes. He has been the principal for 9 years and has also received the Principal of the Year award from the state. He is respected by parents and focuses on a reputation of being the most prestigious school in the state. He only hires the most highly qualified teacher applicants. Among those is Miss Cindy Walker. It is her second year teacher, and she was hired by Dr. Forbes the previous year in specialized sciences like zoology, botany, and genetics. She has numerous degrees and is working on her postgraduate, and her goal is to have a structured classroom that focuses on academics. Because of this, she has numerous complaints about her class workload and poor instruction by students and parents. And Dr. Forbes has given her strategies to reduce the student stress, but it doesn't seem as though she has successfully implemented these strategies yet. After being gone for a long weekend, Miss Walker received an email with a link to a website that had a lot of negative comments about her personal behaviors, vulgar words, and a phrase that said, "Who wants Miss Walker to disappear?" With this, she felt that there was a threat on her life, and she immediately contacted Dr. Forbes and then forwarded him the email. After viewing this email, he felt that it was only a prank, but did decide to meet up with her on Monday morning. Miss Walker felt that it was potentially done by a student, Randy Franks. The things that I need to know, first and most importantly, who sent this email and created the web page? Was it even done by more than one person? Was this done on a school device and during school time? If so, this could potentially lead to more school punishment. And what laws were broken? I would need to contact local legal counsel to make sure that I know the rights of everyone involved. Identifying the problem. Someone, presumably a student, has created a web page as a means to make crude remarks and threaten Ms. Walker. She now feels that her life is in danger and can no longer stay at her apartment, and this could potentially have an impact on her teaching and her ability to feel comfortable to do her job. I would also feel that immediate resolution for removal of this site needs to happen. I have picked five steps in my plan of action, and then I will go into more detailed strategies for each of these steps. Number one is to assure Ms. Walker that this will be handled as soon as possible. Number two is to prevent disruption with this site. Number three is to communicate and consult with others. Four is to investigate and begin determining who is involved. And number five is to disperse proper punishment. The details to assure Ms. Walker is that I will meet up with her on Monday as planned. I will assure her that her concerns are being taken seriously, and I will do all steps necessary to handle this. I will ask that she will continue to work in a regular manner and not lead on that she is aware of the situation, as to not add fuel to the fire. And I will let her know that I'm here for her in any way possible for further questions, concerns, or her thoughts on this situation. To prevent further disruption, step two, I will request that the district technology department try to locate an IP address for which this email was sent. This will allow us to find out what device was, if the device was district issued or owned. I will also ask that the technology department do their best to shut down the website as soon as possible to prevent further disruption to Ms. Walker and any students or parents who would have the ability to view this site. I would ask that all screenshots of the pages be taken first for proof of the site. Step three would be to communicate and consult with others. I would refer to the district handbook and review policies in regards to a situation such as this. I would inform the superintendent of the situation and the steps that I have taken thus far and any future steps that I would take. I would also like to note that I would consult and communicate with constantly communicate with the superintendent with anything about this case from this point further forward. I would also contact the district's attorney to find out what legal implications we would be looking at and contact law enforcement if I'm advised to do so. Step 4 would be to begin the investigation. A lot with this would be determined on if our district was able to locate the IP address for the devices in which the email originated from. If they can't, I may need to turn it over to the police department and have Ms. Walker file an official report. If this were to happen, I would still request that my staff be aware of the situation and keep an open ear out for students, as I do not intend to let this drop easily. If an IP address is found, intense questioning would begin immediately. And then step 5 would be to disperse punishment. Before I would get to this step, however, I would have to request another meeting with our superintendent to finalize punishment for the students before I'm even aware who they are, to make sure that everything stays equal and proper. I would come to the table with in-school suspension, verbal apology, and community service. If and when the students are verified, an individual conference with each student and their parents would be set to go over specific details of the offense and the punishment set forth. If the students cannot be verified, I would hold an assembly to inform the students of the situation and to inform them that a formal investigation by the police department is being held, and when the culprit is found, they will be dealt with in a very serious manner. I hope that it doesn't come to this situation, because very honestly, I don't want my students to know that someone could potentially get away with this, but I do want them to know that law enforcement would be contacted. I believe that multiple people are going to be involved in in the resolution of this situation. First of all, the students involved. I believe that they would be removed from the classroom. This would give Ms. Walker a chance to feel more comfortable and get back into her classroom setting again. Also, by placing them in in-school suspension rather than out-of-school suspension, we would continue to provide them with a learning experience, and it would allow us to keep an eye on them through the process of their consequences and their community service. By doing this, we are providing them with a learning atmosphere for everyone at Roosevelt High School. The student body. This solution is a prime example of cyberbullying, and in this case, this would give us an opportunity to grow and teach all of our students about cyberbullying and how to communicate if they have been or are being cyberbullied. It would also teach students that their actions can hold very serious consequences, and they need to be aware of these consequences and the feelings and rights of others. I also want this to give an opportunity to express my expectations of ethical behaviors and what I require from each and every one of my students. In doing this, I am providing all of my students with a safe learning environment. Also, a resolution for Ms. Walker. This webpage and email is most likely tied to the fact that the students are experiencing a high level of stress in her courses. I would meet with her again and explain that as an educator, I applaud her efforts to maintain high rigor and expectations in her classroom, but we must find a way to uphold those expectations and reduce student stress. I would go over the suggestions that I'd previously made, and I would listen to her thoughts on what techniques she believes would work in her classroom, and we would come up with a plan to implement these successful techniques. Increasing her positive interactions with her students is going to promote the success of students, and is also going to promote the relationships between her and her students and their parents. What was I thinking, feeling, and valuing during this entire case and process? I was thinking about what I needed to do to solve this problem as absolutely as soon as possible. I wanted to find the person responsible and make sure they had received the proper punishment. I was worried for Miss Walker and her obvious fear for her life, and I wondered how genuine these threats truly were. But in this day and age, I could not take it lightly, and I value the life of all of my students and staff and everyone at my school. I also value the integrity and the reputation of my school, and I want to hold it, and I want to ensure that I do all that is possible to keep it intact. A couple possible unresolved issues that I would be concerned about is what work I need to do if we were unable to specifically pin down the IP address and the culprit. Also, what I would need to do if I continue to receive complaints about Ms. Walker's classes from parents and students after reviewing her with potential techniques to fix that. With reflections on integrity, fairness, and ethics, standard 5 component 1, I believe a sense of integrity and ethical behavior was demonstrated when I contacted the appropriate officials and referenced school policies concerning student discipline and computer usage. I only questioned the students that were deemed as those who might be involved or who might know the involved based on information gathered from the technology department, Ms. Walker, and other faculty members. And I discussed with the superintendent about appropriate consequences for the incident before actually determining who the students were that were involved. This ensured that the students were treated fairly and without bias. Component 2, I believe that the following demonstrates that I acted with fairness. I listened to and addressed Ms. Walker's concerns even when I was unsure about the strength and the threat that was made. I gathered the input of my superintendent regarding what he or she felt would be appropriate punishment for the situation with the guidelines of the school policy. And working on strategies with Ms. Walker to reduce stress in her classroom, we are building teacher and student relationships, which allows me to address the concerns of the students and the parents. And lastly, component 3, I believe that I demonstrated a personal sense of integrity and professional code of ethics by the following. I sought the advice of others, the technology director, the school lawyer, other administrators, and my faculty to ensure that my plan of action was legally and ethically defendable. I also did consider the position, my personal relationship with, or the influence of the parents of the students involved when administering the punishment. I only did what was just and necessary to take care of the situation by providing everyone a positive school culture where everyone was safe and treated justly. I hope that you enjoyed, and thank you.